What would you do if you had to completely reinvent yourself in your late 50s after being laid off from a fancy corporate job? You need to tune into today's episode where I talk to Anne LaFollette, who went from corporate America into a creative entrepreneur and surface pattern designer. We're going to talk about her journey and launching her membership when she did not know some of the first steps to take. It's awesome. Hello, dreamers. Welcome to the Late Starters Club, giving you the inspiration, mindset, and tools you need to start something midlife and beyond. Remember, it's never too late to follow your dreams. First, a word from our sponsor, me. Are you feeling stuck in your business and aren't sure how to grow? Or maybe you're starting something new and just really don't know what strategy is going to work best for you. Well, then you might need my one on one coaching and consulting. I've personally helped businesses grow to the six-figure mark and seven-figure mark. Whether it's really diving into your ads and seeing what's wrong, giving you hands-on specific advice, or it's just taking a look at your overall strategy and giving you some recommendations for moving ahead. Just go to AndreaVall.com and go to the Consulting and Coaching tab for more information and packages that fit your needs. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. Hello, dreamers. It's your host, Andrea Vall, for the Late Starters Club podcast. And I am joined today by a friend of mine, Anne LaFollette, who lost her job in her late 50s. And now she has invented a whole entire amazing business that we're going to dive into, creating surface art and teaching people how to create surface art. So, welcome, Anne.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be here, Andrea. This is incredible. And I'm very honored to be able to be on your Late Starters Club podcast.
I know. And we met in Jeff Walker's Launch Club. We did a whole mastermind weekend together, which was super fun. And it's been so cool to see all that you've done with your business. And it's just taken off. So, congratulations.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I love to share my story because what I'm doing now is totally different from what I
Yeah.
used to do.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us how you obviously we know like kind of the impetus for you getting into it, obviously getting laid off from your job and not being ready to retire, not ready or wanting to retire. I don't know if I always want to be doing something. But tell us how, like what even prompted you to start into this venture?
Yeah, exactly. So I had a corporate career for over 30 years. I worked for fashion retail companies, global retail companies. And one day my boss called me into his office and told me, "You don't have a job here anymore. Walk down the hall and go talk to human resources." And this came as a complete shock because I had always thought that a corporate career was going to be the way I spent my life, my
Mhm.
working life. And I tried to get another job, but I was in my late 50s.
Yeah.
And as year after year went by, thank goodness I have the support of my incredible family and my husband and my son. My son was in high school at the time. And my husband turned to me and he said, "Sweetie, I think the universe is sending you a message that for this next part of your life, you need to do something different, something else." And he really is the one, both he and my son are really the ones that allowed me to explore doing something different.
Yeah.
And I had always been creative as a kid. But no one in my family went to art school. No one in my family had any type of creative career. They were doctors, they were lawyers, they were business people. So I didn't have really any examples, but my husband would joke with me whenever we would travel. I'd jump into the closest art supply store and I'd buy some more colored pencils or, or I would buy a new journal to put my doodles in. And so he said, "Listen, sweetie, we have this huge box of art supplies in the basement, and it's been gathering dust for 30 years. So maybe we should bring it up from the basement since you have a little bit of time on your hands. And why don't you explore your creativity?" And my son was going off to, wait for it, art school. My son went to the Rhode Island School of Design. And so I said to myself, well, wait a minute, there must be some creativity somewhere in this gene pool. And it's really allowed me to give myself permission to take some time off from my very unsuccessful job search and explore my creativity. And the pivotal moment was that for Christmas that year, my husband said, what would you like? And I'd done some research online and I'd found an art class by this incredible woman. And I still take a course from her every year. Her name is Carla Sondheim. And she does a variety of different art classes, but she has a year-long class. And since I didn't go to art school, I needed some foundation. So my husband bought me her year-long art class. It was called Y is for Yellow. She's fabulous. People can check her out at
Mhm.
carlasondheim.com. In
Yeah.
any event, I took this year-long art class, and one of the modules in it was about this thing called surface design, which I had never heard of, and probably no one in your audience has ever heard of.
No, I hadn't.
But here's the thing, if you look around yourself right now, you'll probably see at least four things that have a pattern on it. Probably the carpet under your feet, that cute little notebook that you just
Yeah.
showed me that you take your notes in has a beautiful repeating pattern on the cover. You and I are both wearing a sweater today, but we might be wearing a blouse in usually that has a repeating pattern on it. The tea towels in your kitchen, I can go on and on. And
Yeah.
all of those are actually made by someone. And then they learn how to turn that into what's called a repeating pattern. And then they sell it on all of the products that we buy.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it. I totally fell in love with it. And so that's how I landed to start to create an online business where I teach and I sell my own art on what's called surface designs.
Right, I love that, and yeah, like, you start looking around, you're like, "Wait, this wrapping paper and this everything," like, all so much stuff, so it's amazing, and it's fun that you could create that yourself. Now you started out just doing it and selling it, and then you developed it into teaching it, right? Teaching it and also teaching people how to sell it and make money from it.
Yeah, so I do both because I love to do my own. I've always, in retrospect, wanted to put my own designs on fabric or on
Mm,
wrapping paper. I love
mhm.
during the holidays to have every present in a different paper. And so now I don't have to buy all those papers from someone else. I can create my own,
That's
and which is so much fun. And so I still have, in the beginning, I was selling my work through my local art supply store in my tiny little town. I took a cute little container store box that had some of my samples. And I walked down there and I said, could I sell these on like a teeny shelf in your store? And the woman said, absolutely. And we'll feature you in the window. And
Wow.
so that was a really, really fun thing to do. And anyway, there's a lot of other places where I still sell my work, mostly through what's called print on demand companies like
Mhm.
Society 6. So people can find me on society6.com/Anne LaFollette. But I also love to teach it. I just realized that one of the pivotal things for me was finding something that I could really lean into, and I could find other women like me. I just turned 65. Other women like
Uh-huh.
me who have this incredible creativity within them, but
Yeah.
maybe a teacher told them that they didn't have enough talent. Or
Mhm.
maybe their parents said, no, you can't go to art school. Nobody makes any money from art. You can't go to art school. And
Right.
now I can help them get their own creativity and bring it out into the world to share with all of us.
That is so awesome. That is such a beautiful thing to be able to do because a lot of us have been told no or told that that's not an appropriate career. Why are you wasting your time with that or whatever? And to now be able to do something like that and express yourself in a new and different way, maybe that I'm terrible at painting, but I could maybe do something repeating as a pattern. I like doodling, so that could be a thing. Who knows?
Yeah, and you don't need to be an artist. And we all have this thing about that word, that
Mm,
artist is
yeah.
spelled with a capital A. It means our stuff has to be good enough to go in a museum. And we are all artists. We all have
Right.
a unique handwriting. We can all either, if we don't doodle, we can learn how to doodle. And some of the most successful sellable products in the world are very simple. They're dots or they're organic shapes or they're, think of the Mary Mecco flower that is so recognizable called the
Mhm.
Uniqlo flower. No, I think it's called Unico, and it's that pink flower, and it's totally
Hmm.
imaginary.
Yeah. Someone made it up. Yes. That's great. And so just to get a timeline and time perspective on this, this is this has all happened for you in the last 6-ish years. Is
Yep.
that
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, so you
5
went
to 6 years.
yeah, so you went from being laid off to having this idea to taking a class to now, like, selling it and now having hundreds of students go through your trainings and learn from you. It's incredible.
I love my students. I get out of bed every day and I cannot wait to support them on their journey because we're all creative. We may have it buried deep inside us, but we
Right.
are all incredibly creative. So I love the opportunity that having an online business provides to you and to me to
Mhm.
find new people who actually
Right,
need what we have to offer, and we can
right.
serve them with all of our heart to have them actually have more joy in their lives.
Yeah, exactly. And now, talk a little bit about how you learned to do some of this as far as you didn't have any experience in creating a website or creating a email list or like even launching like we've
Yeah.
learned how to do. So talk about how you even learned all that and was that overwhelming or was it exciting? Talk
So
about
at the
that process.
beginning, it was definitely overwhelming because I had a corporate career, and my corporate career was in inventory management. So had nothing to do with the internet. I didn't use Adobe Illustrator or any art tools. And so at the beginning, it was definitely overwhelming, but I love to learn. I think that one of the things my mom instilled in me at an early age was, and this also speaks to, nobody can take my job away now. This is mine. And so the sense of empowerment that you get when you're building your own business is incredible, and the freedom that it gives you. But to your point around how did I go about learning, I love to learn and I'm a very good student. And so my mom said is, you have to go find the people who know how to do what you want to learn, and you got to learn from them. And so you got to invest in finding them, figuring out what type of program they're offering that's going to teach you what you need to do. And then I promised myself, as I accumulated courses and coaching that I needed, that I would pay myself back within the year that I made that investment. If I made a big
Mm,
investment in a course, I was gonna watch every single module in that course, and I was gonna then implement what was being taught so that I could get a return on my investment. And so I did that first with Jeff Walker. And because Jeff Walker is, of course, the king of launching,
yeah.
and he's the guru of all gurus. He's taught
Mhm.
everyone for the last 30 years how to launch.
Yeah.
And then I also took Amy Porterfield's program on how to build a really fantastic online program, because she is the queen of building digital courses. So those are just two examples of the fact that I just took it kind of one baby step at a time. Didn't know what an opt-in page was, but I like to say this to both myself and to all my students: is we can do hard things. We just have to do it slowly, one step at a time, and just keep moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is just such smart advice about really using the courses that you bought and really implementing, because I think that's a huge mistake that sometimes people make is they go out and buy all the things and they just keep thinking they have to wait until they know it all before they can learn or launch before they can do anything. And really you don't. You can just turn it around as quickly as possible, and it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be done. Done is better than perfect. That is so smart that you were really intentional about what you were buying and what you were then implementing.
And to your point, you learn a lot more by doing it, because then you see what you didn't do right or what you did
Yeah.
do right, and you have data that will
Yeah.
allow you to then do it again and do it a little bit differently for the things that didn't work, and then
Right.
continue to really lean into the things that are totally working. And you wouldn't
Yeah.
know that if you don't actually do it, if you don't actually get started.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of these courses have groups where you can ask questions and you can't formulate as good a questions unless you've actually done it and have that perfect question like why didn't this work or can I get feedback on this or whatever, and then you can learn even faster and launch again or whatever. So, yes, that is great perfect advice. So yeah, you've got definitely you invested in learning and in experts, so that's really good. So what have been some of the obstacles that you've come up against, and how have you moved through those? Have you had any moments of overwhelm during this time here?
Yeah, I listen, I think that when you're starting something that's brand new and there's a lot of unknowns around it, it can feel a little daunting. And I think this is funny. When I obviously I lost my job and I had 30 years of experience. So when I started to try to figure out what I was going to do next, I thought that I wasn't going to use any of the skills I had acquired for 30 years. I was I was
That's done.
really right. I was like, exactly. It was like all that just went into the trash can about 30 years. And what I realized was, hold on a second, that's not true at all. I learned a ton during the time I was in corporate. And a lot of the work that I did was very strategic. So it allowed me to ask good questions. I learned how to zoom out to look at problems and solve those problems. And
Mhm.
that are skills that I use all the time. I think it was also for me really important that while I needed to recognize the fact that everything, and this is good, I think, for anyone listening, that if you're pivoting or you're trying something new, everything that you've learned so far is really going to serve you well. You're not exactly sure how it's going to pop up, but it will absolutely serve you really well. So if I was talking to my younger self, I wouldn't be telling my younger self, oh, you're such an idiot. You should have started this 30 years ago. I would say, which I might have said back in the day. I might have
Right.
said that. It's like, oh my God, that
Yeah.
was a total waste of time. I should have figured this out 30 years ago. How stupid am I? Instead, it's actually, no, all of that experience was very worthwhile. I was doing it
Mhm.
for a reason. It was adding to my life experience in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
And that's continuing to pay off for me now.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And yeah, it is funny. You said a couple things there, just like the way we talk to ourselves. It can be a good growth edge. Definitely, I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm a little nicer to myself than I was, or better at ignoring that little voice in my head that might be a little mean and just trying to protect me or whatever. But yeah, I like that. And I do like that you're talking about because I like that idea of what would we tell our younger selves, but it does I've had a lot of people say that I don't think I'd change anything because it's all been this journey that has culminated in the experience and wisdom I have right now to make this change or do this new thing or whatever it might be.
So, Andrea, one of the things I really wanted to make sure I had a chance to talk about today is what does it feel like when you're doing this when you're older? And how can we have the courage to do it? And what did I lean into personally to
Mhm.
help me both through the transition, but also to continue to make progress when you hit those stumbling blocks. And I think that for me, and hopefully serves your audience, I think that when we're at this age, I just turned 65. So I think when we're at this age, it's really important that we're doing something that brings us a lot of joy and
Mhm.
that we are focused on the ultimate goal, which is actually to serve the audience that we're finding. And that is actually what helps me continue to learn what I need to learn because there's still a lot that I can do to improve myself as a designer as well as my online education business.
Right.
And having that motivation and also having making sure that there's some focus around it and that you do understand it's important to plan out the steps so that you have a roadmap, all things that I found were very helpful for me. And again, they lean into all that experience I had in my corporate career.
Yeah, that's so great. That's so great. Cause yeah, let's just more joy. That's what pile it in. I don't want to do things that are like not fun, or sometimes we have to do things that are not fun, obviously, but they're in service of the thing that is going to bring us more joy. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, are there some parts of this new business that are not as fun for you? I'm interested because it seems like you're having a blast.
I am
That's what
totally having a blast. I'm having a blast. And one of the reasons I'm having a blast is because having your own business is so incredibly empowering and
Yeah.
freeing. So
Yeah.
I can do what I do from anywhere because all I need is my laptop. And I grew up in Paris. I love to go back to Paris every single year. And so I am able to go to Paris even if I'm in the middle of teaching my course because I
Mhm.
just go online and teach from Paris.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that. I
Yeah.
think the other thing too that's so amazing is that when one of my students actually succeeds in creating their first repeating pattern. And they do this inside Adobe Illustrator, which is a beast of a program. The joy and sense of accomplishment that they experience, and then they order wrapping paper, or they order a set of pajamas for their grandkids, or they've put their this design on a baby blanket. It's like the sense of both incredible joy and creating a legacy of your art that's going to be out now in the world forever for generations and generations to enjoy. It's this snowball of both fulfillment and joy and physical creation, which is
Yeah.
kind of awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. You get to be there for those fun, pivotal moments for others. So not only are you creating this legacy for yourself with just this creation, but you're helping other people create a little bit of a legacy. How fun. How fun is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So has there been something that has happened that you um something that went wrong or something that you thought was maybe a disaster at the moment, but has really turned out just great?
Yeah, so here is my story on that. I am, and no one's going to believe this, but I'm actually an introvert. I'm a really intense introvert. But my mom told me, and so kind of taught me at an early age, how to cheat on all the tests so that you'd get like an extrovert score because she believed, and I think she was right, and she's probably still right, wherever she happens to be. She passed away in 2019, but she's
Mhm.
always watching over me. She basically said, you have to be loud and talk a lot and make noise for people to notice you in the world. Right? And it's only recently that we see articles popping up that say the introvert in the room is the person you should be listening to.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that was an article in the New York Times recently, but I'm really introverted. But this type of business, so initially I was thinking, oh, this is never going to work. This is never going to work. How can I possibly teach? I'm an introvert. I have to go hide under the covers after I've been around a bunch of people. And the great thing about the internet is that I'm just talking to the green dot, right? So when you're on your computer, like we are right now, I'm talking to you through the green dot. So I feel very safe because I'm in my
Yeah.
house. I
Mm,
can share all of my enthusiasm and my love and my joy of what it is that I'm teaching others. And I can create a connection with them
mhm.
without having this sort of stress and pressure or obstacle, like we were asking about, that would be having people in the room with me.
Right.
So it's actually a blessing. It's really a blessing that we
Yeah.
can communicate and share in this way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, and you don't have to be on a big stage to speak to 300 people, or you don't have to be, like, the shaking hands with everybody or whatever to be able to support them in the group or whatever that relates to.
Yeah,
So,
and listen, I met you at an in-person event, which was awesome, but when we
yeah.
were not, like, meeting, I was hiding in my room recharging my introvert batteries. So, it's great that I have an opportunity to still connect with you in this way and
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
audience.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I do love so many things about what the online digital world can provide in terms of starting your own business if you're introverted or extroverted. And the kind of interesting thing is, like so many people I talk to who have started their own business, they do talk about being an introvert or is people on social media. I used to run social media manager school, founded that, and like all the 75% of the social media managers said that they were introverts. And it can be a great way to, be online and you can think about your answer and stuff like that. I was just talking to Lou Bartone interviewing him, and he's a video expert and he's a big introvert as well. It's fun that you don't have to be a certain type of person. You don't have to be a certain age. Some people think that, oh, you have to be young to be online. And no, you don't, so
I
that
think it's
is
also really great for people who are in my age bracket. As I said, I just turned 65, but technology is becoming easier. So a
yeah.
lot of what holds people back in my age group is, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to learn the tech. There's no
Yeah.
way I can learn the tech. And
Yeah.
the thing about tech is that every year that goes by, the tech actually gets easier. and
Yeah. Yeah.
and if you break it down into baby steps, you can absolutely do. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, I do feel and there's lots of people who know the tech. So if there's something that scares you, frustrates you, whatever, you can hire someone. I can't for the life of me figure out some of my shopping cart systems where you've got whatever Stripe and whatever thing is connected. I'm like, oh, thank God there's someone who knows how to do that. So that's yes.
Exactly.
Uh yeah, you had mentioned some non-negotiables in your business. What are some of the non-negotiables that you've defined for yourself, and how has that come up into play here?
Yeah. So when I was in corporate, I had no non-negotiables. All right. I was a worker bee. I worked 24/7. I had the Blackberry back when the Blackberry was the thing. And then, of course, I had the iPhone. My husband and I both were terrible at having it at the dinner table. And, and we worked 24/7,
Mhm.
weekends, whatever. You're total, you have to respond to the boss. And in my own business, I think that I've had the opportunity to create sort of these boundaries. And so I don't work on the weekends at all. I stop working at about 5 o'clock on a Friday. And I'm very transparent to everybody and say, I'm not going to answer your emails. It doesn't mean I'm not here. I am here, but I'm going to spend time with my dad. My dad is 93. He's doing amazing. And while he's still here, I want to spend my weekends taking care of him and
Mhm.
spending time with him, as well as with my husband and my son.
Mhm.
And so it's very important to have those boundaries, which I didn't have in my corporate career at
Mhm.
all. So I think that's a really, really important one. And then another non negotiable is I'm going to go to Paris every year. And I didn't go during COVID, but I'm now back. And last year, I'm going in April. I cannot wait. And that's another part of why I do what I do, because I
Yeah.
have the ability to go to Paris every year now.
Yeah, that is wonderful. I was in April in Paris once or twice, and it's just amazing, just so beautiful. Springtime is a magical time there. So that I love it. And I love travel too. I think as entrepreneurs, or sometimes we might have the idea that, oh, to be an entrepreneur, you have to hustle your face off and work all the time. And certainly there are times for that. But I think that's one thing I love. I love being able to really say, hey, I'm taking vacations. And last year I took 7 vacations. So I'm
I know, it was awesome to see you
I
post
know.
about it so we could live vicariously through
I
your
know.
events.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So this has been so much fun, and I love your journey. I love hearing your enthusiasm, excitement for it, and what you're doing for your students is incredible and so awesome. And I always ask people like for a favorite quote or inspirational saying that they have that really fires them up.
Yeah, so my favorite quote is it's never too late to create, which I actually have now trademarked. And I think it's so important for everyone who's listening to know it is never too late to create. And that is basically it's my favorite quote. And I think that it helps inspire me every day. And I think that it helps motivate and inspire my students as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but both create art and create a new business and a new life. That's the whole message of this podcast too, although I will not use that because it is trademarked, but it but I love it. I love that
It's never
you
too
can.
late to fill in the blank.
Yeah,
Never too late.
exactly.
I just said it's never too late to create. And to your point, it's to create whatever you want
Right,
that is
right.
going to bring you joy at the stage that you're in your
Right,
life.
that's awesome. So, Anne, people can reach you at AnneLafolletteArt.com, and I'm sure you're on all the socials as well, posting
I
your
am.
beautiful
I'm on
art.
Instagram as Anne LaFollette Art. I post a reel every day that is a time lapse of how to create a repeating pattern. They're super fun. They're less than 60 seconds. They're usually about 30 seconds long. And of course, I get to pick the music that goes with them on the Instagram reel. So those are super fun for people to watch also on Instagram, Anne LaFollette Art.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll have all the links in the show notes here. Thank you for your time and your inspiration, and I will see you around at some event soon, I know.
We will. People are doing live events again. And so we
Yay.
absolutely will see each other soon. But I'm
Yeah.
so honored to have been here. I absolutely love your Late Starters Club podcast. And I'm honored to be here.
Oh, thanks, Anne. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hope that was helpful, and make sure you grab the free guide, Top Tools for Late Starters, on the website at latestartersclub.com. And let's turn dreaming into doing.